Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams with the Midday News. The headlines. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh makes a statement in Parliament on India-China face-off in Tawang, says armed forces are committed to protect territorial integrity of our country. Nation pays homage to the brave hearts who sacrificed their lives defending the Parliament on this day in 2001. First meeting of the G20 finance track begins in Bengaluru. G20 Development Working Group meeting gets underway in Mumbai. Data should be accessible to citizens around the world, says India's G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to participate in program commemorating 150th birth anniversary of Sri Aurobindo this evening. Bhupendra Patel takes charge as the Chief Minister of Gujarat. And in football, Argentina to clash with Croatia in the first semi-final of FIFA World Cup tonight. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today informed that no fatalities or serious casualties have occurred on the Indian side during the face-off between the Indian and Chinese troops at Tawang sector of Arunachal Pradesh. Making a statement in the Lok Sabha today on the incident, Mr. Singh said Chinese troops tried to transgress the line of actual control in Yangtze area of Tawang sector and unilaterally changed the status quo on the 9th of this month. He said due to timely intervention of Indian military commanders, the Chinese soldiers went back to their locations.
9 दिसंबर 2022 को पीएलए ट्रुप्स ने तवांग सेक्टर के यांगसे एरिया में लाइन ऑफ एक्चुअल कंट्रोल पर आक्रमण किया। भारतीय सेना ने बहादुरी से उन्हें उनकी पोस्ट पर वापस जाने के लिए मजबूर कर दिया। इस झड़प में दोनों ओर के कुछ सैनिकों को चोटें भी आई हैं। हमारे किसी भी सैनिक की न तो मृत्यु हुई है और न ही कोई गंभीर रूप से घायल। इंडियन मिलिट्री कमांडर्स के टाइमली इंटरवेंशन के कारण पीएलए सोल्जर्स अपनी लोकेशंस पर वापस चले गए और इस एरिया के लोकल कमांडर ने 11 दिसंबर 2022 को अपने चाइनीज काउंटर पार्ट के साथ एक फ्लैग मीटिंग की और इस घटना पर चर्चा की।
The Defence Minister also informed that a flag meeting was held on Sunday, the 11th of December, between the local commanders of both sides, and the issue has also been taken up with the Chinese side through diplomatic channels. Mr. Singh assured the House that Indian forces are committed to protecting the country's territorial integrity and will continue to thwart any attempt made on it. Later, not satisfied with the minister's statement, Congress and some other opposition parties staged a walkout from the House. The Defence Minister made a similar statement in the Rajya Sabha also. Opposition members tried to seek clarifications, but Deputy Chairman Harivansh did not allow it, saying it is a sensitive issue and there is no precedent of allowing clarifications on such issues in the House after the minister's statement. Not satisfied with this, members from the Congress, Trinamool Congress, Rashtriya Janata Dal, Samajwadi Party, Aam Aadmi Party, Left and others staged a walkout. Home Minister Amit Shah today alleged that opposition is raising the issue of India-China face-off to avoid the question on Foreign Contribution Regulation Act FCRA violation by the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Talking to media outside Parliament, he said the foundation had received grant of 1.35 crore rupees from the Chinese embassy during 2005-2007, which was not appropriate as per FCRA. He said the government has cancelled its registration as per the rule. He said a question was listed in the Lok Sabha about it, but Congress and other opposition parties disrupted the proceedings. He added that till the time the Narendra Modi government is in power, no one can capture even an inch of Indian soil.
ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार है, नरेंद्र मोदी इसके प्रधानमंत्री है और जब तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मोदी सरकार चल रही है, 1 इंच जमीन पर भी कोई कब्जा नहीं कर सकता।
The nation is paying homage to the brave hearts who sacrificed their lives to valiantly defend the Parliament against the dastardly terror attack on this day in 2001. In a tweet, President Draupadi Murmu said the nation will always remain grateful to the brave hearts for their courage and supreme sacrifice. In a message, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the country will never forget their service, bravery and sacrifice. Earlier, Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other leaders paid tributes at Parliament complex to the martyrs. UPA Chairperson Sonia Gandhi, Leader of Rajya Sabha Piyush Goyal, Leader of Opposition in Rajya Sabha Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress Leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi and other ministers and members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha also paid tributes to the martyrs. Minister of Law and Justice Kiren Rijiju has also paid tributes to the brave personnel who sacrificed their lives while protecting Parliament in 2001. In a message, Mr. Rijiju said their supreme sacrifice and bravery will never be forgotten. The minister also remembered former Defence Minister and former CM of Goa, late Manohar Parrikar, on his birth anniversary today. He said Mr. Parrikar was the epitome of simplicity, honesty and a visionary statesman with exceptional commitment to the nation. India's G20 Sherpa, Amitabh Kant, today said the principles governing the disclosure of good quality data which can ensure government performance must be laid down by the Development Working Group meeting. He was delivering the welcome address at the first Development Working Group meeting in Mumbai in a side event on data for development, role of G20 in advancing the 2030 agenda. Mr. Kant said G20 has played a very critical role in the past at a time when economic growth and financial progress were impacted.
We are meeting at a point of time when the world is in the midst of a turmoil. Global growth has slowed down. Vast number of people going below poverty line because of COVID. Over 100 million people have lost their jobs. 70 countries have been impacted by global debt. There's a huge crisis of climate finance and climate action. The global supply chains are disrupted. In the midst of all this, India has taken over the G20 presidency. Our belief is that every crisis is also a huge opportunity. Prime Minister has said that India's G20 leadership will be decisive, inclusive, will be action-oriented.
Mr. Kant said less developed and developing countries will never be able to technologically lead and grow without the use of data and good governance. He said the data should be accessible to citizens around the world. Mr. Kant said the Indian government has tried to bring good data governance and brought several initiatives like Data Governance Quality Index. He shared India's practices like National Data Analytics Platform and use of data for transforming aspirational districts in the country. Union Minister of State for Electronics and IT, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, also addressed the gathering and presented India's achievement. He said the Government of India will soon begin to assemble large troves of anonymized data sets collected and harmonized under National Data Governance Framework Policy with vast community of startups, researchers and AI ecosystem. Mr. Chandrasekhar said the digital economy should be viewed through a combined prism of trust and protection. The G20 Finance and Central Bank Deputies meeting and first Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors meeting began in Bengaluru today. The finance track of G20 discusses global macroeconomic issues through its meetings of finance ministers and central bank governors, their deputies and various working groups. The key issues dealt by the finance track are global economic outlook and monitoring of global economic risks, reforms for a more stable and resilient global financial architecture, international taxation, financing quality infrastructure, sustainable finance, financial inclusion, among others. More from our correspondent.
Karnataka State Tourism Department has made elaborate arrangements to showcase the state. It has laid out the red carpet to the international delegates from over 35 countries. Yakshagana dance artists and caparisoned elephants are welcoming the delegates. The Tourism Department will be playing a short video on tourist destinations. Another video on Startup Karnataka will give a peek into the tech world of the state. Excursion trips are planned for the delegates. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will virtually address a program to mark the 150th Jayanti of Sri Aurobindo this evening. In a message, Mr. Modi said India is grateful to Sri Aurobindo for his monumental contribution to the nation, be it in terms of thought, leadership or role in the freedom movement. Our correspondent reports that the program will be held in Kamban Kalai Sangam, Puducherry, under the aegis of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. During the program, Mr. Modi will also release a commemorative coin and postal stamp in honor of Sri Aurobindo. Prasar Bharati has no policy of One Nation, One All India Radio. This was informed by Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur in a written reply in the Lok Sabha today. He also clarified that All India Radio, AIR, has not decided to shut down its local relay stations and relay the programs through Vivid Bharati. The minister informed that based on the need and requirement of its network, AIR has taken up several initiatives for dissemination of its services to the listeners across the globe. The INB minister informed that AIR broadcasts in 23 languages and 181 dialects from 501 centres in the country. The Lok Sabha is discussing supplementary demands on grants today. Taking part in the discussion, BJP MP from Dumariaganj, UP, Jagdambika Pal, said that supplementary grants are part of the budget and this situation arose because of the high subsidy bill which is being given to farmers, particularly for fertilizer, the prices of which rose after the Ukraine war. Praising the economic policies of the government, Mr. Pal said a major portion of the supplementary grants is capital expenditure, which is being used for the infrastructure development of the country. In Gujarat, Bhupendra Patel took charge as the state chief minister at Gandhinagar today. Our correspondent reports that the newly inducted ministers are also taking charge of their respective departments. Cabinet Minister Kuber Bhai Dindor took charge as Education Minister in Gandhinagar. Our correspondent reports that there are a total of 16 ministers in Bhupendra Patel's new Council of Ministers, which include former ministers and senior MLAs. More from our correspondent.
Of the 16 ministers inducted in Bhupendra Patel's new government, 11 are former ministers while 5 faces are new. Out of the 11 former ministers, there are 7 ministers namely Kanubai Desai, Rishikesh Patel, Jagdish Vishwakarma, Raghavji Patel, Harsh Sanghvi, Mukesh Patel and Kuber Dindor, who were also a part of Bhupendra Patel's first government. Bhanuben Babaria, who is elected from Rajkot rural seat, is the only woman cabinet minister. Aparna Khun, AR News, Ahmedabad.
The winter session of the Bihar State Legislature began today. After paying tributes to those leaders who died during the intersession period, the House is adjourned till 11 a.m. tomorrow. 5 sittings of the House will be held up to December the 19th. The session is likely to be stormy as opposition party BJP is set to corner the state government on issues of law and order, development and job promise to youth. European Union foreign ministers have imposed a new round of sanctions against individuals and organizations over human rights abuses in Iran. They also blacklisted 8 drone makers and Air Force commanders in response to Tehran's alleged supply of drones to Russia. The EU ministers in a statement said these weapons provided by Iran are being used indiscriminately by Russia against the Ukrainian civilian population and infrastructure, causing horrendous destruction and human suffering. The United Kingdom has been in the grip of a cold spell, with temperatures plummeting around the country. 3 young boys have been killed after falling into an ice-covered lake. As the country recorded its coldest night of the year so far, heavy snowfall is disrupting air traffic, train networks and roads. In the FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar, the semi-finals will begin today. In the first match, Argentina will lock horns with Croatia at Lusail Iconic Stadium tonight. The match will begin at 12:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Tomorrow in the second semi-final, France will take on Morocco. The final will be played on Sunday. Now let's have a look at the weather across the country today. National capital Delhi is likely to have mist. Temperature will hover between a minimum of 8 degrees and maximum of 26 degrees Celsius. Mumbai is likely to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Kolkata will have mainly clear sky. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh makes a statement in Parliament on India-China face-off in Tawang, says armed forces are committed to protect territorial integrity of our country. Nation pays homage to the brave hearts who sacrificed their lives defending the Parliament on this day in 2001. First meeting of the G20 finance track begins in Bengaluru. G20 Development Working Group meeting gets underway in Mumbai. Data should be accessible to citizens across the world says India's G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to participate in program commemorating 150th birth anniversary of Sri Aurobindo this evening. Bhupendra Patel takes charge as Chief Minister of Gujarat, and in football, Argentina to clash with Croatia in the first semi-final of FIFA World Cup tonight. And with that we end the Midday News.